Hello, I'm Oral, and welcome to this very special edition. With me, I have the number 8 candidate on the up list, Mr. Boston. How are you doing, sir?
Fine, thanks, Earl. Thanks for having me here today.
Well, good to have you in the program because Boston, that last name, people ever ask you?
Every time I mention my name, that's the first question.
Really?
Yes, it is. I actually address myself by my last name, so most people address me as just Boston. Yes, yes.
Can't forget that name.
You
man.
can't.
So you're the number 8 candidate on the up list,
Yes.
right?
So my full name is Addison Boston. I am the number 8 candidate on the United People Party. This is my second time contesting in election. My first time around, I was on USP. I received 137 votes my first time, which I'm very proud of.
Oh, that's good for first time?
Yes, thank you, thank you. The team was very strong. We did our best, but unfortunately, we did not receive a seat, and the party dissolved right after. Yes.
So how is it now on the up party?
Oh, it's enhanced. Our leader is he's always on the go. Mm-hmm. He's the first out of the gate, and he's continuously telling us to continue pushing because he definitely wants the up party to get the mandate in this upcoming election.
Yeah, we had him yesterday. I was very impressed.
Yes.
You can see the improvement with him over the years.
Yes, definitely. For me, it's a very interesting journey because we all did not expect to have elections so fast. However, when we came out, the party came out very strong, and we do believe we're going to continue pushing down the road and execute when it comes down to the August 19th.
So when you look at Zimbabwe today, what are some of the things you're concerned about?
For me personally, the growth of the country, the economic growth of the country, it feels stagnant. So before I continue going on, let me talk a little bit about myself. I am currently the ramp manager at Winia. I've been in aviation for 19 years. I work 11 years at Menzies Aviation, and I have 8 years at Winia. I was an instructor for 11 years at Menzies Aviation, where I thought I would go to the US countries and the Caribbean countries, receive my training, and come back and certify our individuals that work here to do ramp handling service. And then after, in 2017, Winia hired me to come over and do ramp manager and also the instructor as well. It's had been a very interesting journey. However, I have taught many young men in the community. And because of their skill set, this is why many of them do not continue their education. They're unable to execute in a workplace and on any level that is needed academically, so they fall in the system. This is why I am championing trade schools on our island to be on a larger scale. Because many of the young guys and women, they do not have that academic teaching, so they lack a trade. So when I came to Menzies and I did the program, I saw that many of the young men that came to the program, came to the training, they were very skilled with their hands and they learned very fast. So what I did, I brought them out in the ramp operation, to do hands-on, and then I brought them back to the classroom to educate them on the theory part of the training. And they did great. This is why I'm saying trade schools are very important here in our country because we have individuals that are not academically challenged. However, they are very versed with their hands. And that's why I'm pushing this point, Oral.
So you was at Menzies. That's a big company.
It is. They have many stations. And I think it was 2012, I flew to Johannesburg.
Really?
Yes, I spent 1 week down there working, and it was awesome. I learned so many things down there. I received certification in so many different areas in aviation that I'm proud of today. I am now a certified instructor for aviation and security. I'm also an internal auditor, which I can audit any airline that comes to our country. So I'm very proud of these accolades as well.
And you studied only in Zimbabwe, or you?
Well, I had 5 years in Holland. My first field that I was going to study in was hotel management.
Really?
Yes, hotel management. Which I am happy that I did that because I learned the management skills, which I can apply in my today job. But you know how it is sometimes you go to study one thing and come back and do the next. There are so many people that have degrees in a certain field, however, they end up in a whole different direction. But however, once you have that education, you can use it to do multiple things, which I really like.
You know, you mentioned trade school.
Yes.
That's a big problem. We have NIPA.
Yes.
Are you familiar with them?
I am. And I do love that program. It's a very good program. However, NIPA is for people that already finished school or did not finish school, they're already an adult.
Okay.
We need to instill this from primary to secondary school so that our youths could understand being hands-on is not a bad thing. Because so many youths believe when you do stuff with your hands, it's a low income job, or it's a job of shame. We have to change that whole narrative. We have to educate our people to let them know that hands-on technical skills is very good. So many people make a lot of money with the technical skills. Contractors, they make so many money because they are versed, they know what to do. So when you educate our people about these technical skills, these hands-on skills, we help build our country internally. There was an article released about 3 weeks ago, Oral, and they were bringing in 300 workers to work here in that same field I'm talking about. So it shows a big lack of the skills here on our island. So moving forward, we need to increase the amount of technical schools they have here in our country.
You know, all of that changed when hotels
Yes.
became popular in Simra.
That is true.
Before that, our people did most of the things themselves with their hands.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
And I want to see that come back in our country because, again, a lot of the youths today, when you give them the opportunity, you will see that they're not a nuisance. I grew up in Dutch Quarter, and it's a district that they have as a scorn district. So many productive people came out of Dutch Quarter, but they was given an opportunity by someone around them with positive energy. Because I received the positive energy, it helped me escape that system as well. Because you have a picture painted on you when you are in that district that you are no good. And we have to change the narrative, not only in Dutch Quarter, but around our country. Because certain areas are basically considered low-income areas. And we have to build that up in our country to make sure that our people in those districts know that the country care about them still. Because when I hired those same guys in those districts, when I got the opportunity to do so, those guys was very productive. But on first glance, when you meet them, it doesn't seem that way. It seems that they're a tyrant, they don't care. But when you give them the opportunity and you mold them and you talk to them and they actually see that you care about them, it's a huge change, Oral.
So when you say hands-on trade schools, what do you really mean?
That's a very good question. I'm talking about mechanics, electricians, plumbers, carpenters. These were things in the past that you get from Milton Peters College, Vocational School, Sundial. These were schools that produced so many elite people in our community today, and we have moved away from it. I'm not asking the country to go back, but moving forward, we need to reinstate such classes on a larger scale, because we can see if someone doesn't perform academically, they can always fall back on practical or technical skills to help them in everyday life. And I truly believe this.
But it's also a very good paying job.
It is. You know, and it's so amazing to see right now. So many different contractors are bidding for the garbage contracts. Years ago, you would not see such thing.
Yeah.
You know, it was like a job that nobody wanted. Now you can see how lucrative it is, and everybody is bidding for these contracts. So the same way we have this thing happening with the garbage contracts, we can have it within our trade schools to let people know what kind of income you can receive by having a trade.
I always tell people, sanitation workers in New York, those guys make a lot of money.
Exactly, and I saw that in Holland. In Holland, I mean, it was amazing, and they was well dressed, and they had all the necessary equipment. And that's also something as well, Oral. I think when you go into that field, there should be a slight little course to educate you about hygiene as well, because some of our collectors, maybe they lack the knowledge, but we should educate our people on how do you handle it. Because some of the guys, they need more protection when dealing with these such stuff.
I agree. I always joke and tell people, soon, to be a garbage man, you have to be a garbologist.
Yes. I like that term. I love that term. And, you know, and as time goes by and things enhance and technology increases, this is why I really believe that we have to put trade schools in place.
Right.
Mechanics I have before, they no longer could go under a tree and just tighten a bolt.
Oh.
It is now electronic. So you have to we see that education
Exactly.
as well. And that's why I do not want to see the academic schools separated from the practical and technical schools. Why I say this is because you need to incorporate both. Because if you are an entrepreneur, for example, you're a carpenter, if you don't have the skills to make an invoice as a small business owner, you have to find someone to do all of your, let's say, your paperwork for you.
Yeah.
You know, and of course that's not a bad thing, but you should know the basics.
Right.
So you know what you're dealing with. That's why I believe that the academic schools incorporate technical schools as well, because training as well, because you need to know how to go about doing it, and then academically you know how to do your taxes, how to file whatever needs to be done in a correct manner, and it will be a very good thing to do to have both of them in the school.
Well, in case you've just joined us, this is a special edition with the UP candidate number 8, Mr. Boston. Here, speak with him, Mr. Boston. You also want to focus on entrepreneurship programs. Explain to me what you mean by that.
Okay, so that's a very good question, because I love this part of my championing point. Entrepreneurship promotional programs. I personally, I was part of a program in the Festival Village where you had vendors, food and beverage selling in the village, numerous things all year round, not only for during the carnival, all year round. Many people still don't know that there's a program in place all year round focusing on food, beverage, food, different activities happening within that village. However, the program itself doesn't have any type of structure. So in simpler terms, the tenants had to put things in place to help push that program. And to be very honest, I still don't find the program itself, the fees were affordable for, let's say, based on the minimum wage. It's $675 basically for the rent. Light and water is included. However, when you don't have that flow of people entering the direct place, and you have to create an ambiance, it's difficult for people that do not know how to market. So if you're gonna have a program of such, I believe you should have promotional things happening, pushing people towards that program. It helps the new entrepreneurs get that type of income and that kind of influx of people coming towards them, which is needed, because I was fortunate enough to know a lot of people and my business was successful, but there were those in there that really struggle, and we tried different things to help them. But if there was a program in place, then it would be much more useful, helpful for those that are just starting off in that field. And I really want to push entrepreneurship in our country. We have always been trained how to be employees and not bosses, business owners, homeowners. We could always acquire these things when we become an entrepreneur. Me personally, I believe in small businesses. Having a job is wonderful, but when you have your own small little business, you feel elite, because you create something of your own and one day hope for it to become on a larger scale. So I really am pushing these promotional programs because there are many things that we can do in our country to help upcoming entrepreneurs. And that's why I mentioned also tax breaks. For a new business, I believe there should be a period set, which I don't have a direct amount of time as yet, but it should be discussed, that you should receive a tax break when you open a new business, because that will help you along as well to reduce costs when you're just starting off.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Boston. What do you think about the idea where the government gave special tax breaks to locals to start up and open up their own supermarkets?
Oh, boy.
And stop issuing supermarkets to outsiders?
Oh, boy.
Because what happens right now, what you have in St. Martin, when these people have a holiday or they have a problem and they shut down, there's no food. So to encourage local business people, the program that you're speaking about, I just think, what do you think about the idea of really focusing on that area and get some local people in there, but at the same time, they have to work hard to get it, but the government will be watching their back?
I love that. I love what you just said. Because there was an instant, I think about maybe 5-6 years ago, there was an issue, not sure it was with the Indian community or the Chinese community, but there was an issue. And we're not going to stick on the point what the issue was. However, they did close down. And when they did close, you could have seen the impact in the country. And then you realize there are not much local shops. And that was something that for me was so amazing, because I was like, why aren't we trying to get into a necessity business? Because much of us, we enter into food and beverage For example, after the pandemic or during the pandemic, many people were doing food and beverage.
Exactly.
Because that's what we know.
They were forced to in the way.
Yeah, exactly. So it did create entrepreneurs.
Right.
However, I think it's time for us to be more versed as locals. We need to be more versed. And what you're saying is exactly what is needed, because now we have all people opening a business that will be successful and that is needed in our country. I am never one to ever discriminate whether it's a Chinese or an Indian or any foreigner. Once you live here, you have the rights and you have followed the ways and the right ways to be a legal entity now. You're contributing to our country. So I am not one to bash those things. But I do believe in empowering our people of this country. And what you just said will empower us, because those businesses are needed in our country by local owners. For example, bakeries, they are fading away. There are only a few that is left.
Right.
Mostly you get your bread now from a shop, and the Chinese are doing their own baking.
Yeah.
Why are locals not using this? However, this is why we talk about entrepreneurship promotional programs, which you can put it in place that if you're going to open a bakery or you're going to open a supermarket, the government is going to assist you with this happening. So I love your idea as well, Oral.
I think it's great. Nothing against those are there now,
Yes.
but we have to prepare and have our people also
That is correct.
benefit. You know, you're also focusing on tax breaks for small business.
Yes.
For small business,
Yes.
one of the biggest headaches is the tax
It's
office.
tax. It's tax. And personally, when I went through it the first time, I did not know my first time in opening is right away. As you open the business,
They're right there.
you gotta start paying taxes, and you're still getting accustomed of the business itself. You're learning who your customers are. You're growing slowly, but then you have these taxes and you haven't really generated any real revenue as yet.
Exactly.
So it's quite challenging for you. So we have seen it being issued to bigger companies, which we understand. However, to empower our locals, especially new business owners, I believe they should receive that tax break, because the government isn't losing anything from the coffers from a new business. If you want to talk about existing business, get that tax break, it's a little bit more challenging. But for a new business that was never added to the coffers, you can't lose. It shows as a government you want to empower our people. And I really believe that you should do so. And that's why you see my 3 points I'm championing. They all incorporate with each other. I just didn't have a bunch of wild points on my card to make people want to vote for me. Oh, he's championing this. Oh, he's championing that. I personally want to use things that are happening in our country that make sense. I know I'm from aviation, so many people say, but how come you didn't add aviation to your list? It's there. But I want to attack things right now what is needed. I'm a very versed person. So when it comes towards aviation, I can dive right into aviation, because that's what I know. But I also know these points. And that's part of me that people don't know. The entrepreneurship part of me is something that I want to promote with our youths. And I also believe it begins in school. Because as I said earlier, we are mostly taught to be employees. And we don't get that curriculum in school to teach our kids that we could be a business owner as well.
Yeah. Well, schools all over never teach you that.
That is true.
Unfortunately,
That is true.
Even when you go to university, they don't do it. And I think that's lacking. Especially for St. Martin.
Yes, it is. I really believe so. So, again, as you just said, it's not done globally, but let's start it locally.
Yeah.
And it will be beneficial for us.
Definitely.
And we start that trend and have it going. That we have it in our curriculum, that we have a course for entrepreneurship, showing that we want all people to grow.
Yeah.
And it's something I love about the party I'm on. Our leader always talk about empowering our people. He is so versed. He is the reason I am on the up party right now. Because when my first run with USP, it was very good. Pamela Gordon-Carty, I must thank her over and over, because she helped educate me on the path towards Parliament. We took classes, we learned about the laws. It was very, very good. But now being here now with Mr. Otley, he is showing me personally. Of course, the team is learning as well, but I'm a person, I'm very attentive. He's showing me what leadership is about. He is making sure that all his candidates are up to par with what's going on every single day. And that's quite impressive, because he has the road to 1,000, which is not an easy road. And besides focusing on himself, he is now incorporating it with the rest of his team, because he can't win alone. He knows that. But he is doing what he has to do for himself, but making sure his candidates are up to speed as well. And I love that.
Well, in case you've just joined us, This is a special edition. My guest is the number 8 candidate on the up list, Mr. Boston, and we're here to speak with him. You know, it's quite interesting because when you were coming, I didn't know the person I was going to be speaking with.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll say, let me call the person and speak with them first. But you walked in, and I must first time meeting you, but you're very articulate.
And you know, when you're I still will use the word new candidate. Everybody expect you to be elite right away, you know, especially in front of a camera or in a radio interview. You're live. Sometimes your heart is beating so fast because you want to say the wrong thing because, you know, everybody's viewing. And I do understand why, because if you are applying for one of the top positions on the island, you have to be versed. And I strongly believe this. So entering into your wonderful establishment, I said, this is a well-known program. So the heart rate started up in the beginning, as usual, but just getting to know you and talk to you, you know, you make the room light. And I can express myself much easier talking in this kind of interviews, which I really appreciate.
Well, you know, mistakes are human.
Yes.
And sometimes people like it when you make a little mistake.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
But not too often.
Yes, it is true.
So you're getting down to the wire.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things have to be done.
Yeah.
What have you seen in the people of St. Martin that concerns you a lot?
Recently, what took place in my hometown, Dutch Quarter, it really concerned me a lot, Oral, because I came from that district. I'm a proud person from that district. I'm happy that I grew up there because I didn't grow up in a soft environment. I grew up in an environment that received very little attention, and you had to prove yourself. And growing up around certain type of environment is easy to go astray. However, it did have people within the community that encouraged me to stay on the right path. And this is what I'm saying right now to all of the people of Dutch Quarter, old and young. We cannot give up hope on the people in these districts that feel neglected. If you continue painting a picture of an area, eventually the people in that area are going to believe that's what they are.
Yeah, the self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yes, and you can see it. You know, they call it Dutch Quarter, dangerous quarter, all kind of bad names. You have been hearing this for years. So eventually, when a young man grows up in the district, they feel automatically, yeah, I'm from a dangerous place. We have to change that concept. And I'm asking all of the people of the communities, not only Dutch Quarter, to put that positive image first. Because persons like myself can still walk through that area. Everyone greets me. Or when I received my most votes the last election in Dutch Quarter. I thank the people so much because I don't even reside in Dutch Quarter anymore. I left after I got my kids. I needed a bigger apartment, and I went up a bigger apartment outside Dutch Quarter. However, I'm still attached to that district, and I can see the dire need of change, the help that there is needed. I continue talking to the young men and talk to them about the way that they're behaving and what they need. So many guys I've employed. You know, when they ask me, hey, Boston, you have a job at the airport? I say, yes, we do have an opening. However, before we go to the airport, I want to talk to you here. Because we are all cool talking here. But in the workplace, you would have to learn to respect everyone in the workplace. And when they hear the conversation and they understand, and I explain to them where I started, because I started off on a basic ramp operation, or I basically offload bags off the aircraft. That was my job. I was not ashamed of what I was doing. I had a job and I was making honest money. And I was very proud of what I was doing. And these young men saying to themselves, if Boston could make it out, well, they call me Ada as a nickname. If Ada could make it out of the Dutch Quarter, let's follow him. And I received that blessing during last election. I was a top vote getter in Dutch Quarter Community Center, and I was very proud of it because it shows that people of the community appreciated all that I did within that time. And as I'm so pushing this trade school, or I really want to believe it can happen because the guys need an opportunity. And I believe if we set that trend, which the Up Party will do, I'm strongly believing that Up Party will get minimum 5 seats. And we're going to have the mandate, and we're going to do community, reach out to all those in the community that we see struggling. Because the party leader, way before election even came around, spoke about this. He said, we need to get in contact with these people in the community and talk to them. And then Dutch Quarter incident took place, and he said, you see what I'm talking about? Let us go. And as a team, we decided we're going to take a walk through to see what's happening. And we took notes. because all fine during election campaign. It looks like everything looks like a campaigning. But we plan to return to those districts after election to make sure that what we said before, while we was campaigning, that we execute after we're in government and in parliament.
Well, that's a very good plan because I personally feel Dutch Quarter has been neglected for decades.
Yes.
And when you drive down 80 Illich Road there,
Yeah.
it's horrible.
Horrible, yeah.
You know, and the government had some arrangement, European funding. That never really happened.
Yes.
So it's good to hear that you as a candidate is saying that after election you're going to return into what you have, what you promised to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I've been there, and the thing is, sometimes I do dislike about politics.
Yeah.
You have to post everything that you do for people to know that you're doing things.
Right.
There were so many times before I postulated myself, schools, the MLK school, I gave books, crayons, I gave what was needed by the teachers, that whatever requested. I didn't want any picture oral, because if you're going to give something, you give from the heart, not for social media. But now that you're campaigning, you have to post everything you do. And I understand the reason why.
You have to.
However, we've been doing things in the background for a very long time. And I believe that we should continue doing it now on a larger scale.
You know, the trade school idea, I like it.
Yeah.
But it will be different than NIPA, you said, because
Yes.
NIPA is a different operation.
That is true.
You have any idea, like, where you would like to have this trade school buildable support?
And it can be used in our everyday school right about now, especially in our high schools. Again, what I really want to see is that incorporated in. I mean, the facility might have to change to have different classrooms to work towards whatever they're doing, whether it's mechanic or carpentry. However, the separation of the trade from the academic teaching is something we need to move away from. Our neighboring islands have been incorporated for a very long time. They have it in one package, so you don't have to choose.
Right.
You're in the school, because there's some people that are academic would love to do a trade, but if you're in an academic school, how could you do a trade? So when you incorporate both within, then you have that opportunity to be academic, and you can learn a trade as well. So if things don't work out for you academically, you could always fall back on your trade. So give them the option to have both, instead of separating the schools and making individuals feel, if I'm not academic, I'm no good, I'm not smart.
Yeah.
So this is what I want to see change.
You know, I listen to you and I think back to the early 70s growing up in St. Martin. I think back to the times I've had political leaders on the program speaking of, and I remember the late Dr. Clawadi saying to me, everybody wanted the child to work in an office, go to a hotel, wear a white shirt and a tie. Nobody wanted to be in agriculture anymore.
Yeah.
He wasn't saying that he wanted that. He was saying what other people wanted for their children.
Yeah.
I think he was right at the time.
Yeah.
But today now we're paying a price for that.
That is true. And again, the same people that want to be in the nice suit and a tie, when they see the salary of those that don't have it on, they start to complain.
Yeah.
And that is what I want to continue pushing. The hands-on, the trades. Those guys collect some serious money.
Just ask the tellers in the bank.
Exactly. I had a friend. I always laugh about this story because they go to work very nicely. They look good, and they're passing those guys morning, and they're gone. At the end of the month, when they get paid, they are saying a week after they're broke. Yeah. These guys sometimes get paid weekly, and they're passing, and their pockets are good, and they're driving the same cars just like them and doing even more. And the best part is, these hands-on, they either already have their house or their building.
Yeah.
And that's it's so crazy in our island. We get a car so easily, but that mortgage you need to get better house, it's a big challenge. And this is why our party also is championing building affordable homes for those that cannot afford those big mortgages as well.
You heard the waiting list?
Oh.
6,000
yes.
waiting list
for
home. That's a lot.
It is. It is. And again, even if someone have land and try to build, man, I could tell you right about now, because I'm struggling. I'm struggling. I would say I have a very good job and income, but I'm struggling because it's costly.
It's not you alone.
It's
A
costly.
lot of people. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, we really have to see what we can do for basically those that have on minimum wage and see what we could create for them so they could also be a homeowner as well.
And I think you're right, because I was speaking to someone the other day, and this person is highly educated, making a lot of money, and they tell me exactly what you're saying. They're struggling because cost of living is so high, the cost of construction workers, etc., is so high, and the banks are not open to giving young people loans so easily.
Yeah, and I believe they could even be flexible with it as well. Sometimes, banks don't really approve partial mortgage that easy. You have to come with a full plan, and then they approve it. Now, if someone already has the land, and they are trying to build, there should be more packages in place to assist in stages,
right?
Especially based on the salaries that you receive. So it shows the people of the country, again, that the country wants to help you to grow, but we don't have any locally owned banks, so it's very hard for us to make those kind of mandates, legislate those kind of mandates. Rolando Bryson came up with a lot of good ideas. He was very versed in the banking system, and we want to continue pushing those things to help our people open accounts easier, get loans easier, get mortgages easier. Our party is so versed, it's exciting for me to be around them. I'm learning so much, Oral.
You guys are a lot of young guys.
Yeah.
With a senior man number 2, well experienced.
Yes. He's so much knowledge. When he speaks, the whole room just sits and stare.
Yeah.
Just getting all that information. I'm just like, oh, where have you been all our life? Educating all of us on different aspects. It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
So you're excited and you're looking forward to August 19th,
quite excited. Right? The excitement comes from my team. My team that I created this time, we came together and we had a good discussion about what we want to get done. And we wanted to make it fun as well. Because, be very honest, postulating yourself, people do it, it's not easy, Oral. Acquiring one vote is difficult. For sure you have your own vote. Right. But to acquire one vote, to convince one person is very difficult. So I applaud those that postulate themselves continuously. It's my second time, and we decided to make it a little bit more fun, a family gathering, friends, close friends, and build a team, and we have done so, and they have really pushed me on a level. Days when I feel a little low, they would say, come, no, let's go. And it has shown tremendously. We have received so much positive feedback throughout all the negative energy around the island. We have received so much positive feedback that we are confident in this upcoming election, we're going to do fine, and Mr. Boston will be in Parliament.
Well, Mr. Boston, you have 2 minutes. You can watch that camera and say anything you would like to say.
Yes. St. Martin, I want to thank you, first of all, for embracing me the first time around. I am here once again. I'm asking you, the people of the country, to give me your support. Give the up party that mandate of 5 seats and up so that we can govern in the right way. I'm a very versed young man. I can't say young anymore. However, I am a young adult still. And I want to see our country excel on a very elite level. I want to see the young men and women in our country become not only bosses, homeowners, and we continue to grow our economy. And we can do so. I am a prime example that there is still hope for those in districts that are neglected. So on August 19th, I'm asking you to give Addison Boston, candidate number 8, our United People Party, a chance to be in Parliament. Thank you very much.